Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ever since I have known him, he has always had a plan for the future. His love and passion for this organization and to be a leader has advanced so far to where I look at him differently.
He has mentioned time and time again that the long hours and many sacrifices he has put forth have been well worth what he's achieved and the opportunities that have been brought to him.
His work ethic and ambition is something to be admired, and he is truly a role model for today's youth.
As we parted ways on our separate paths in life, I've been amazed hearing about his experiences and seeing them online.
And I know he has enjoyed every mile he has traveled and every person he has met along his way.
It is our honor and a privilege to introduce to you
our best friend
and your 2010-2011 Indiana FFA State Sentinel,
Micah Matlock.
My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah. My life be like,
superpowers. Who else would love to have a superpower? If you could have one superpower for the rest of your life, which would you choose? To be invisible, to be the strongest person in the world, to be ridiculously fast, to be elastic and be able to stretch like 100 feet in any direction, or my personal favorite, to be able to fly. Ever since I can remember, all I've ever wanted to do was be able to fly. How stellar would that be? Back in the day, my family had an old white barn on our old family farm, and in this barn was a hayloft that was about 15 feet off the ground, or 5.5 meters if you use the metric system. And in this hayloft, it was the place to have a cavalcade of fun, especially at the age of 5. So there I was one day, 5 years old, jumping around the small square hay bales up in this hayloft, having all kinds of adventures, ninja chopping, invisible, non-existing bad guys, and I even found a doorway to Narnia, but the goat guy kind of creeped me out. So I kind of continued on with what I was doing, and all of a sudden I find myself standing near the edge of the hayloft, and I'm looking at the other side, which is only about 10 feet away, and I get this crazy idea in my head. I should jump to the other side, says my 5-year-old conscience. I really believe that I can make this jump. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that people were only born with 2 natural fears? There's hundreds of phobias you can develop throughout your lifetime, typically through traumatic experiences, but there is only 2 fears you can be born with. There's phobias such as the fear of spiders, arachnophobia. There's phobias such as the fear of deep water, aquaphobia. There's phobias such as small spaces, claustrophobia, or even the fear of needles, trypanophobia. But the 2 fears that you are born with is the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. And loud noises didn't really apply in this situation, and I wasn't in the least bit afraid of falling because I knew that I could make this jump. I did, after all, have mad ups like MJ. So what do? Without even hesitating, I take a step back, I get ready, I rev up, I take off running, and I want to freeze in this moment right when I lift off the ground. Now, what I didn't do was think about the consequences of this jump. What I didn't do was question my abilities, and what I didn't do was question whether or not I could make it to the other side. I just leapt. And now I'm soaring through the air. I feel like Pocahontas when she jumps off the cliff. And I really feel like I'm suspended in the air, and it was as if I was meant to fly. And I really felt like I was flying, so I was 5 years old. And then the moment came when gravity brought me back to reality. I hit the ground with a thud, twisting my ankle. Hashtag epic fail. That day, I learned a few lessons about personal limitations, but was it so bad to really believe in the impossible? Now, we've all been at the edge of a hayloft at some point in our lives, looking at and longing for the other side. Some of us might jump off right away as if we're invincible, but some of us might take a step back, question the situation, or whether or not we can make it to the other side. The heart of the matter is a matter of heart. Now, all it took to make that jump that day was a little faith in myself. What if we developed enough faith in ourselves and our abilities so that we never back down from any of our dreams again? You might find that the day you make it that simple, you'll be doing all the things you always dream possible. I had just finished showing my dairy cattle in one of my classes at a cattle show a couple of years ago, and I was heading back to the show ring to watch the junior showmanship class. Now, everybody in the arena's eyes were glued to the showman in the show arena, and they were waiting to find out who the judge was going to pull as his top showman. But I already knew exactly who was going to win. I had chosen Jody Jones. Jody Jones is your average, everyday, normal girl. She was about 12 years old at the time, and pretty much everybody in the arena had known Jody since she was born, especially me. Jody was one of the fastest learners and the hardest working young ladies I had ever met. But what really set Jody Jones apart from anybody that I've ever seen is that she just never let anybody tell her she can't do something, not even herself. So as the judge approached the mic, took the mic in his hand, he kind of stood there for a second, and you could feel the crowd inhale and hold his breath as he was getting ready to pull his number one showman. And then he points, and everybody's eyes kind of follow his finger, and at the same time, everybody kind of realizes that he's pointing at Jody Jones. So what do? I start clapping right away. I'm like, oh yeah, Jody, fist bump like a champ. Hashtag winning. And I'm clapping, and I'm stoked, cheering, and I start looking around, and all of a sudden, I realize that I'm literally the only one in the arena clapping. In fact, not only was I the only one clapping, but nearly everybody else was crying their eyes out. Awkward turtle. And I was that guy at that moment. Now, everybody knew that Jody Jones had earned that win, that very first win of hers, and that all of her hard work and bravery had paid off. What we had just seen was pure inspiration, and I reacted to her success in my own way. Everybody had a reason for being so emotional. Jody Jones is blind. Now, if you were to tell me that a blind girl had not only shown a Holstein heifer and a show ring at a state show by herself, but had also just won a junior showmanship class, I would not believe you. I'd probably think it's a funny joke. How can it be that a blind girl is able to show an animal 5 times her size on the halter in the dark? How can it be that a girl that was born without the ability to see is able to successfully lead that animal around in a show ring without even being able to see it? Jody Jones walks by faith, not by sight. She walks by faith. Faith in her father, who guides her via a 2-way radio headset, a little earpiece, so that he's able to direct her from the ringside so she knows where she's going. She walks by faith. Most importantly, faith in the one above us. She walks by faith, and probably most significantly, faith in herself. To give ourselves a shot at achieving anything, we must walk by faith, not by sight. Some of the world's greatest people and most accomplished people have come from the most humble and poorest of homes with little education and no advantages. Andrew Carnegie started off work at $6 a month. John D. Rockefeller at $4 a week. The remarkable thing about Abraham Lincoln was not the fact that he was born in a log cabin, but the fact that he got out of that log cabin. Demosthenes, considered the world's greatest orator or public speaker, stuttered. Julius Caesar was an epileptic. Napoleon was ranked 46 out of 65 in his class at his military academy. Beethoven was deaf, as was Thomas Edison. Charles Dickens was lame, so was Handel. Homer was blind, Plato was a hunchback, and Sir Walter Scott was paralyzed. Now, if there's anything that the pages of history are screaming to us about these amazing people, and if there's anything that Jody Jones proves to us each and every day, it is that your circumstances do not dictate your destiny. We all have our own disabilities, but it's time to stop hiding behind them. if there's ever been something that you backed down from, a dream that you've had that you didn't think you could accomplish it because you didn't trust yourself or believe in your abilities, trust me, I've been in your place almost on a daily basis this entire past year. Ladies and gentlemen, parents, family, guests, advisors, and FFA members, I am asking you to take a leap of faith. Sure, there's always the possibility you're gonna fail, fall, and twist an ankle. But if you just trust yourself, if you just believe in yourself, and you just give yourself a chance, then not even the sky can limit you, and your potential will be infinite. Because if you believe in yourself, then you can fly.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door.
Micah, we don't know how you did it, and we don't mean put up with the 6 of us girls. We can't explain the impact you made in us and in the membership. You truly and literally are one of a kind. It's my honor to give you your retiring officer gavel. Impacted by your potential and infinitely thankful, Nellie, Jana, Gad, Kelly, Dawson, and Meg. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2010-2011 Indiana FFA State Sentinel, Micah Matlock.